I was the Omega nobody believed in. Until I survived the hunt and not only earned respect but also found my alpha. 50 for hallucinating effects. Everyone stands up as Luke gets up from one knee. A golden crown jewel string atop his dark hair. He stands erect, hands clasped behind his back, looking every inch the king they just declared him to be. My hands sting from clapping too hard, so I decide to put my fingers in my mouth and whistle. Through the crowd, his eyes snap to mine. Dark hues of stormy blue, and I can't help the pride that flows through me. The glass roof of the chapel displays the starry sky and the full moon almost at its peak. Luke had the ceremony started before the moon could rise fully. It didn't make much difference in the procedure, but it did stop him for eating the guests. All the alphas that attended the ceremony and the participant alphas surround him, shaking hands, congratulating, inviting him for dinners. Your mate just got famous, Casper says to me, hands in his pockets. He's always been, I say with a smile. Are you jealous? He raises an eyebrow, glancing at where a very bored Luke is flanked by female alphas and betas. Just as I look his way, he seems to sense my gaze. His eyes gravitate to mine, irritated, itched on them. No, I wave my hand dismissively. They have no chance. Casper laughs. You should talk to Gloria soon. I raise my brows at him. And who's that? My possessive little mate. I gape at him. You have a mate. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Luna, Casper gives me a bemused look. You think I traveled the world with Luke and never found my mate? Then why isn't she with you? I met her last year, but we were still traveling then. Casper shrugs. Gloria was a warrior in training at that time. I'd rather stay away from her than have her give up on all she's worked for. The www, Cass. That's so adorable. I nudge him with my elbow. Firstly, thanks for acknowledging my good heart, and secondly, he gives me a look. Cass. It sounds like a girl's nickname. You do love drama. You wowed me. Lip. And me too. A familiar deep voice as Luke takes my hand in his. Away from praying eyes. I feel the scorching warmth of his skin. Maybe to anyone else, he would look perfectly fine, but I can see the tension in his shoulders, the way he's rubbing his temple every now and then. He's having a hard time keeping it under control. I give his hand a squeeze, hoping to be of some comfort. Luke couldn't dose himself with wolfsbane because it would tamper with the ceremony. Goddess, we've managed this on a thin margin. You've never given me a nickname. Luke says. I grin. What about all those during the hunt? Like bastard. Idiot. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. His finger presses against my lips. Maybe you need to reconsider. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Before I could reply, Casper coughs distinctively. There are praying eyes everywhere. He coughs again. Get a hold. Which is, unfortunately. Luke and I sigh at the same time. He pulls his hands away from me, but stands too close for it to be casual. But, if I'm being totally honest, everyone in this hall, every alpha from the continent, seems at ease with each other. The tension and bloodlust I'd witnessed during the hunt is nowhere around. Everyone seems so. I look back at Luke, peaceful, like no one wants to murder each other. What's with that? That might have something to do with having our wolves back. My head snaps in the direction of that familiar voice. Ethan walks up to us, hands tucked in his pockets, the thumbs peeking out. He offers me a smile, then turns his attention to Luke, who has gone slightly tense beside me. Alpha Supreme. Ethan offers him a nod. Congratulations. On everything. Thank you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Luke says in a clipped tone, his hand brushing against mine. The slight movement doesn't go unnoticed by Ethan, who's looking between the three of us uncertainly. Honored to know you feel threatened by me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Ethan's voice is dripping with sarcasm. Luke's eyes narrow to slits. Irritated would describe it better. Let it go already. Will you? Ethan blows out a sigh. Humans get over this sort of thing all the time. Lightning flashes in Luke's eyes, you would know. Ethan raises his brows. Can't say it's a disadvantage. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I almost jumped in surprise when Joseph suddenly appears behind us. He flashes me that foxes smile, leisurely walking into our circle, a glass of red wine in his hand. Besides, no one is dumb enough to tamper with fates already bound. Swirling the wine in his glass. Hold on. Casper puts his hands up. Am I missing out on something? I'll fill you in later. I give him a sheepish smile, but you can say that these two share our secret. Casper nodded, looking slightly concerned. Luke and I excuse ourselves and go around the chapel. Interacting and talking is strange. Really, how all these alphas and betas are talking to me, respecting me. It feels good to be considered an equal. Well, most of the time. Alpha Winters. Alpha's Avia. Luke nods towards a man. My eyes fly in his direction. He seems to be in his mid-20s. Maybe a year or so older than Luke. Dressed in a neat tux, with chestnut curls down to his shoulders. He looks pretty handsome. My man. He shakes Luke's hand heartily. Congrats. I can't wait for you to take charge. It's about damn time young men took hold of authority. Thank you, Xavier. Luke says formally. I'm sure you're happy about this. His brown eyes fly to me, and he offers me a crooked grin. And I know you brought along a date. Winters. Luke raises an eyebrow. Didn't recognize her. Xavier looks surprised. Should I? Luke glances at me. I give him a smile before turning my eyes to the alpha standing in front of us. Elise Atwood. I offer him a professional smile. His eyes widen and his jaw drops. You accompanied him on the hunt. I can't help the laugh that escapes me. What were you expecting? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Some old battle axe. Looking pretty serious, at least not a bathing beauty. I'm flattered. I roll my eyes with a smile. Allow me to introduce myself. He sweeps my hand in his and presses a kiss to my knuckles. Alpha Xavier Pines. Alpha Supreme of Europe. Pleased to meet you. I nod. Feel free to be pleased by me anytime. Little lady. He winks. Luke's arm around my waist tightens just slightly. I offer Alpha's Xavier a small smile, praying to the goddess he does not get his nose broken. Say, I have a vacancy for my secretary. Xavier says. Not at all bothering to be subtle. Ever thought of visiting Europe? Before I can reply, a hard voice does it for me. Elise will be staying here. Alpha pines. Luke's voice reverberates with a low growl with me. Alpha's Xavier looks at him, then looks at me and holds his hands up in mock surrender, a little smirk playing on his lips. I was merely joking. Alpha Winters. He says I should get going. I let out a sigh and turn to my favorite brooding granite statue. Do you have to do that? Luke's eyes meet mine, the obsidian almost taken over the blue. Yes. It's not like I was going. I tell him. I didn't like the way he was looking at you. Luke says, pulling me closer to himself. His eyes go over the room once. I don't like how any of the men are looking at you. Like it's some mating bull. I grin at him and wiggle my brows. Are you insecure? My love. Luke narrows his eyes. Affection bothered would be a better word. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Then pick up a few things from me. I say cheekily, like not being irritated by people flanking your mate. He frowns a little as I say that. So you wouldn't be bothered by any woman flirting with me? Nope. I shake my head. Why? Because I trust you. I smile, touching my fingers to his cheek. And if any dumb ass goes as far as to kiss you, I'll have to get her executed. That would take some explaining. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Luke says, a faint smile on his face. Don't worry. I wink I'm pretty good at convincing people. You two just cannot stop that. Can you? Casper says, walking over to us. A frown on his face. Stop what? Dropping my hand from Luke's face. He makes a discreet gesture towards us in a setting like this. Someone is always watching. With a sigh, I turn my eyes to the glass roof over our heads. The noon's still high. It's a long time before this party is anywhere near an end. Near dawn, people finally start retiring to their rooms in a settlement built near the royal chapel. I try and fail to stifle a yawn as I enter my room. Luke's still busy with a few more guests. My eyes swim to the windows, the stars winking out. I free my hair and cross my arms over the windowsill. Only a few hours later, I'd be back at the pack house while Luke and Casper would stay here for another night as some tradition. The thought of leaving alone makes my heart oddly heavy, more so than I imagined. The sound of the door clicking open snaps me out of my thoughts. I look over my shoulder and smile as my eyes meet stormy blue ones. But Luke doesn't come inside. He motions for me to come out. Raising my brows, I silently cross the door and step out. What? Sure. Luke presses a finger to my lips. I've barely managed to escape the chapel attendants. They want me to start on the inner reflection immediately. A quiet giggle escapes me as he pulls his hand back. You have to do yoga. He narrows his eyes at me playfully, something like that. Then I suppose I shouldn't keep you from it. Nope. I grin at him. I am notorious for being distracting after all. Here I thought you'd be up for one more surprise before you go. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Luke says casually, but the gleam in his eyes. Damn, he knows he's got me there. Now that you've mentioned it, I say maybe a few minutes delay wouldn't count. Interlocking his fingers with mine before we start down the hallway, I barely rein in my giddy excitement from making me bounce in my steps. What surprise could he possibly have for me here? Luke seems to know where to go. Walking through the building with unrelenting speed, we reach a corridor, only for Luke to whirl back around, hissing a few colorful curses under his breath. What? I mouth. Before he has the chance to reply, an old voice reaches me. The Alpha Supreme is not in his quarters. Goddess? Children these days. Look around. He has to be here somewhere. I put a hand over my mouth, shoulders shaking with withheld laughter. Whoever can call Luke a child must be worth meeting. Luke gives me a look, warning me not to lose control, making my shoulders shake further. This feels oddly familiar to running from detention. My mate hurries back to where we came from, turning to another direction. Once we're far enough, I burst out laughing. Luke, are you sure you're not getting in trouble for this? I ask between my laughter. Glad to know you find my torment amusing. Glancing at me from the corner of his eyes, but I can take it. If it means I get to spend just a little more time with you. My eyes crinkle with my smile. My hold tightens on his hand. How does this man always manage to make my heart beat faster? We reach a spiraling staircase. The slanted windows in the walls, showing the now brightening sky. Luke stops in front of a door, giving my hand a squeeze. Ready? Like I said before. Luke, I step forward, giving the door a push to open it. I'm always ready. But maybe I wasn't. Not for this. Because in front of me is a place floating on the top of the world, with no boundary that obscures the view of the sky. A canvas painted in hues of indigo, violet and blues, outlined by gold of the rising sun. The first rays of light spread over the flower beds made over the roof of the settlement. The dark marble floor swept with petals of every kind and color. How is? I look back at Luke, eyes wide. When did? How do you know this was here? He laughs, the deep sound settling warmly in my bones. Luke brushes my hair behind my ear, the cool morning breeze lifting it. I thought you'd like it. Then cocks his head to a side. Did you? I nod, Smiling widely, I turn my eyes to the rising sun. Again, it's amazing. Bunching my skirts in my hands, I walk over to the flowered at the margins of the roof, marveling at the dewdrops that sparkle like crystals in the sunlight. I crane my neck to look down at the earth. I had no idea we were so high up. I almost tip forward before two familiar arms wrap around my waist, tugging me back to a warm chest. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Luke's voice caresses my ears. I'd hate for you to fall off and immobilize yourself. Sounds familiar. I huff out a laugh. I put my hands over his arms, leaning back against him. All of that seems a lifetime ago, doesn't it? When both of us couldn't stand each other. What makes you think I can stand you now? I elbow him in the gut. Luke only chuckles, before pressing a kiss to my hair, his arms tightening around me. I look back at him where he lets go, confused, a glint of anxiousness in his stormy gaze. Then he takes my hand in his own, and gets down on one knee. For a moment, I can't believe this could be what it appears to be. My eyes flicker to the flower bed. Some of these plants definitely have hallucinating scents. No, Hazel, this is not a hallucination. Luke smiles at me. I would have kicked him in the shins if I could, but my legs feel slightly unsteady. Then what is it? A hopeless attempt. And though it's impossible, his smile turns nervous, perhaps the first of many. The sunlight feels like a warm caresses against my skin. The breeze still cool with the night's dampness. My eyes go from my hand to Luke's gaze, brightened intense as the sun. I've been an idiot at romance most of my life. The unexpected comment pulls a breathless laugh out of me, easing the tension in my shoulders slightly. And I was dead sure I'd never have any reason to be better at it. Luke says that love, or emotions, or compassion, all of it seemed worth his back then, and it didn't matter if I was horrible at it. His hold on my hand tightens. But you make me want to be better. Not only at this, but at so much more. I want to be better at everything I do, everything I am. All for you, always for you. The world seems worth more than just a passing glance with you by my side. Alice, Luke says, slightly breathless, be my Hazel forever. Words seem wedged in my throat, not letting me breathe. And if it could, my heart would possibly rip its way out of my chest. I sit down on my knees in front of him, my smile a little shaky with the enormity of emotions in my head. No. Luke blinks, his lips parting slightly, and he's looking at me as if trying to decipher what I just said. I laugh, squeezing his hand. I'm just kidding, Luke. And then next moment, my laugh is cut short when two arms wrap around me and pull me into his lap, his lips warm against my own. The kiss doesn't help with my already breathless lungs, already shaky hands. Why would you do that, woman? Luke pulls away, panting for breath. You almost gave me a heart attack. Sorry. I breathe out, gritting. I just had to. I'd pass out from the heaviness of my emotions otherwise. I put my hands on his face, my cold fingers warming against his tamped skin. But yes, I smile softly. Yes, I'd like that. I'd like to be your Hazel forever. I pull him down to kiss him again, softly, tenderly, pressing him close enough for him to be able to hear my racing heartbeat, know just how much he affects me, letting him know how this heart would never belong to anyone else. We pull away, both grinning like idiots. Then Luke pulls something out of his jacket. He holds out the little box to me. I take it in both my hands, holding it more carefully than I've held anything in my life. The ring is simply beautiful. An elegant band of platinum with a single dime encrusted at its center. I pull it out, and my eyes catch the words engraved on the inner side. E.M. Pell. Luke gently takes it from me, and slips it in my finger. A perfect fit. Just so you know. I poke a finger at his cheek. This doesn't finalize when we're getting married. He smiles, of course. It might be years from now. Whatever you say. I make the mistake of looking at him, finding those stormy blue eyes already trained on me. And I can't help but imagine what it might be like to actually be married. It wouldn't be much different from how mates live. But these days, Few go far enough to have a document saying they legally belong together. I gasp, catching my train of thoughts. Hey, stop trying to persuade me. Luke raises an eyebrow, grinning at me. I didn't say anything. It's your face. I turn it sideways. It's making me wonder about stupid things. Luke promptly turns his face back at me, leaning down so his nose grazes mine. What sort of things? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Not the sort you're thinking. I narrow my eyes playfully. Oh, I gleam in those stormy eyes. Do you know what I'm thinking? Jimmy. As a matter of fact, I do. And I suppose there's no harm in it anyways. 55 Hostel La Vista. The attendants found us. And the poor souls. I don't think their holy eyes were ready to see teammates making out in the open. Inclined, eh? To their credit, they did congratulate us on our engagement and gave us their blessings. After a much dramatic departure with Casper feigning hurt and not being invited at our engagement. Joseph and their companions giving us heartfelt congrats at breakfast. Luke and I trying and failing to have a one-on-one see you soon. I'm sitting in a car, admiring my ring. To God sit on the seat across mine, and once sits on my left. All silent men with stone faces. I don't even try to start a conversation. Dang it, I already miss him. Then give my head a turn and shake. No, I'm not going to act like a lovesick puppy. I'm going back to Mon. To my friends. I might as well enjoy the last few days I'm going to spend in that pack. Only a millennium later, I see the familiar streets of Minneapolis. The hustle of the city, and soon, we're racing down the earthen road to the Pack estate. The car stops, and just as the doors unlock, I jump out of the damned vehicle and take a deep breath. Miss Atwood, we have orders to guide you up to the very entrance. One of the guards says in a deep, gravely voice. I nod at him, start towards the main gates, holding myself back from breaking into a sprint. Once I cross the threshold, the guards bid me goodbye and turn away. As if a leash has been broken, I sprint forward through the vast gardens. Everything is exactly the way it was 8 weeks ago. No one to greet me. No celebratory preparations, even though they had received word that I would be arriving today. Why is the familiar behavior making me grin? Because it doesn't matter anymore. And I don't want to feel sentimental about leaving this place. I reach the Omega quarters. The little building makes a rush of homesickness go through me. I take a deep breath outside the door, my hands trembling from the onslaught of emotions. I grab the handle, turn and enter. The living room is dark. Even the window curtains are drawn. Furrowing my brows, I reach for the light switch and fit up. Welcome home. I'm frozen in my stand by the decorated living room. All of the Omgays are grinning at me. Angelina is holding a huge cake in her arms. Elise, sweetie. The next moment I'm engulfed in a puff of motherly love as Mom crushes me in her arms. I faintly register the tears flowing out of her eyes as she kisses my cheeks, my forehead. Mom, I'm okay. A watery laugh escapes me as I wipe her cheeks. That's my girl, Morgan says, patting me hard on the back. Her grin is FIEC as always. I'm so happy you're okay, and even happier that you won. Angelina squeezes me in a tight hug. You made all of us proud. You, all of you. I didn't think. Words betray me. Those bastards. And I hug Mom and Morgan and missed you all so much. You missed your birthday, Cassie says, coming up to me with a smile, so we thought we should make it up to you. Thank you. A little shaken by this happiness that has pounced on my so unexpectedly. All of you. I gesture to everyone in the living room. This is more than what I would have ever expected. You don't need to thank us, a scrawny boy says. I remember his name to be Victor. We should thank you. You've given all of us something to be proud of. A loud clang of rings through the air. Everyone is hugging me, taking pictures, giving me cards of what they think about my adventure. You're the bravest Omega I know. I want to be as strong and resilient as you are. You show them higher wolves that we Omgays aren't less than anyone. I'm still marveling at the ingenuity of this whole ordeal when I hear a familiar voice. Seems like you've forgotten me. I whirl around, the card still in my hand when I see him, still dressed in his warrior's uniform. Carlos flashes me his usual crooked grin, and the next thing I know is that I collide hard with him, wrapping my arms around his neck, almost knocking him off his feet. How can I ever forget you, you bastard? Grinning widely, you're still the little shit I remember you to be. Carlos laughs, ruffling my hair. Idiot. I give him a mock glare brat. He ruffles my hair. The party goes by in haze of me telling my stories, eating cake, asking how things have been in the pack, telling them about the crowning ceremony. A few hours later, I'm curled on my bed, relishing the familiar feeling of my head in Mom's lap, her hand stroking my head. Your hair has gotten so damaged. Mom says gently, but it'll be fine. I'll mix up my herbal oil. It does wonders for the hair. I hum, mindlessly trailing my fingers on the sheets, mind running 1,000 miles per second. Mom, I finally say, I miss him. Mom's hand stops moving. I hesitantly push myself in a sitting position, looking at her startled face. Her eyes snap to the ring on my finger, as if suddenly aware that it was there at all. Then she seems to snap out of her stupor. Who, when? Where is he? I can't tell you who. I give her a teasing smile, but I met him on the hunt. He's dealing with some important stuff right now. Who is he? Mom takes my hands in hers, a wide smile on her face, eyes crinkled. What is he like? Tell me. You'll just have to meet him. I laugh an alpha. Mom muses. I nod. What of your rank? I swear to all that is holy, if he even thinks. No, I say quickly now. He doesn't care about that. He just wants us together and happy. So where is he now? Mom asks impatiently, when are you two getting married? He'll come to get us in a few days. I tell her, but geez. Lucine doesn't mean I'm getting married right away. We'll see, she says smugly. I narrow my eyes at her and challenge her. We will. What does he look like? Mom asks me excitedly. I shake my head. Come on, dear. I need to know just how cute my grandchildren will be. Blood rushes to my face, Mom. She laughs and pinches my cheek. Just teasing, dear. I give her but a brooding look. She nudges me. Fine. Just one thing. I finally give in. He has the most hypnotizing blue eyes. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'm not ruining the surprise more. Mom squeals like an overexcited schoolgirl. I can't help but smile, adoration welling up inside me. Soon, I'll take her far away to New York, where she'll be allowed she pleases. The door knocks. Morgan peeks in, sorry to disturb the mother. Daughter time. But we need to go, Juliet. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I furrow my brows. Mom sighs as she gets off the bed and put on her shoes. We have to go shopping with the Luna. You know Morgan, and I always go with her. Can't you stay? Like a child asking her mom to sleep in the same room. I try to sway her. Morgan says with a sigh, but you know Faye. She's stubborn. Mom presses a kiss to my head and leaves with Morgan. The door closes behind. I huff. I know why Luna insisted on going shopping just now. To let me know it's not a big deal that I'm back. Well, mother-in-law, I hope you can swallow your hate for me for your son. I stretch my arms over my head when Mom and Morgan are gone and then make my way towards my dresser. I find my diary right where I left it, in the very back of the last drawer. With a smile, I grab a pen and set down the write the longest entry this diary has ever seen. What? I raise an eyebrow. The two warriors standing in front of me exchange a look. One of them, a heavy-set man with dark eyes, Eamon, clears his throat and repeats his statement. You have to leave. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. What? The other one, Kyle, holds out something from me. I take it and realizations hits me. My contract. The Alpha says that you and your mother are to leave in an hour. But Mom's not even here. I give them a fierce look. Hell, after I finished writing my diary, I come out of the Omega quarters to ask someone when Mom will be back. Iman shrugs. Kailoni looks away. It's almost dark now. I say, can't we just stay tonight and leave in the morning? Maybe after Alpha Luke has arrived. Carl purses his lips. Alpha JX specifically said that you should be gone by tonight, but... And I walk away. A part of me wants to curse so loud. Alpha JX would hear it in his office. I suddenly remember why the hell I wanted to leave this place so badly. Think. You idiot. Why didn't you remember this? Maybe I can use the money Mom saved for my wedding. Go with the original plan and stay in a hotel for a day or two. But it might not be safe. They promote the hunt participants. And if someone caught the winner, they might be dumb enough to ask a ransom for me. I bit the corner of my lip as I walk back inside the Omega quarters. Mom's not back. I contact Luke Asper because of that moon-damned ritual. Alpha or Luna won't believe me if I say Luke and I are mates. The thought cuts through my haze of questions. My mind made up. I hurriedly pack my bags. Once done, I write down 2 notes. One for Mom, explaining where I'm going and how she can reach me. And one for Luke, which is simply, my unaware father-in-law has handed me my contract and told me to get lost. I'm going to Ethan's place. Don't be mad at him. I'm not either. No? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I leave Mom's letter tapped at the dresser mirror, grab my bags, and then walk out. No need for sentimental goodbyes when I can visit the young gazer once all of this clears up. The sky is almost black when I step out of the Omega quarters. Now all I need is to find Carolus and give him Luke's note. On my way towards the training grounds, since I can hear the clash of weapons, I run into Angelina. What are you doing? She asks me, eyeing the bag. Leaving this moon-forsaken place. I say my contract. Remember, I'm sure everyone knows of it. Rumors. Angelina nods. Her brows furrowed, but... Elise, you can't really be leaving right now. She looks pointedly at the night sky. Then at me. Where would you even go at this time? I have a place in my mind. I show her the letter. She takes it from me, taking barely a few seconds to read it. Her brows raising. Who's Hazel? She hands me the letter again, then wiggles her brows. And why is she calling Alpha JX her unaware father-in-law? I grin. Long story. Wait for the book to come out. Wait, you're going to Alpha Ethan's territory? Angelina asks. I nod. Does anyone know you're coming? Nope. I'll have to explain it to Ethan. I tell her. Angelina crosses her arms. Do you even know the way? I hesitate, then put a fist under my chin. It's in the neighborhood. Goodness. Elise, you're going to get yourself killed. She does a very impressive intimation of Luke's scowl. Wait for me outside the Pack residence's gates. I'll take you to Alpha Park's territory. I raise an eyebrow. How do you know the way? She offers me a smug smile. When you're ready to trade information, I'll be happy to tell you. I narrow my eyes at her. At the old game, Carolus. I and Angelina have between us. Information for information. Favor for favor. We're a heartless bunch. I know. Fine. I shoot her a mock glare. I just have to give Carolus this note. I'll be at the gate soon. She nods, then hurries towards the Omega quarters, probably to find something warmer to wear. Right. I hurry towards my own destination. Carlos. I call as I near the training grounds. Baited rake gives me a glare. Then he barks something at Carlos. He mutters something before quickly jogging towards me. What's up? But his eyes flicker to the bag. Elise. Don't tell me you're leaving. I nod. I have to go quick. Brother, but do me a favor. He nods, but the tension in his shoulders tells me he doesn't like this. I give him the little piece of paper. When Luke comes back, give him this. His eyes widen, but brows furrow. Why? What am I supposed to say to him? Alpha JX sent me my contract. He wants me gone by tonight. I tell him this just explains where I'm going. Where are you even? Never mind. He exhales, you drag me in the craziest things. I grin, I'll tell you when I come back. Would they let you? Carlos asks, his voice taut. I'd like to see them try to stop me. I say, lost your head on the hunt. To my agent extraordinaire, Myelin Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I cringe as the familiar voice reaches me. Slowly, not wanting to, I turn to look in the direction of the voice to see Casper's twin. Darky's grey are eyes just like his, but lacking any of his joviality or kindness. We're curging crap like you. Darky smirks. Crossing her arms, it's about damn time. I give her a passive look, trust me. I'm the lucky one in that situation. Smart talk all you want. To my agent extraordinaire, Myelin Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Darky sneers at me, but now everyone knows what you really are. A selfish bitch. People have it worse than you. But you just have to make it look like Ak has been horrible to you. Maybe 8 weeks ago, I'd be angry at her words, wanting to prove her wrong. But right now I have too many things more important than that. You're right. I nod. Mirth filled in my voice. I'm so selfish and bad. Oh my, that's so horrible. I lean forward, lowering my voice and dangerous, calm, anything you can to do about it. I straighten myself, ignoring the look of surprise on her face, giving Carlos a parting glance. I turn around, ready to start a new chapter of my life. A life no longer dependent on the whims of strangers. But my feet stop. This isn't the ending I want this chapter to have. One last thing. I turn back, a grin on my face. My knuckles slam against Darky's nose. It's Elise. To my agent extraordinaire, Myelin Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. That moment is forever burned in my memory when Doris loses her balance, arms failing, and falls on her behind in an ungraceful heap. I whirl around and sprint for the gates as she yells for the warriors. A laugh bubbles past my lips and I know they can't catch me now. The one thing I learned on this hunt is to run. At the gates, I cast one final look back. Darky's nose is swallow. She's yelling something and Beta Drake is trying to calm her down. The warriors look amused and surprised and Carolus is laughing. Darky's livid gaze meets mine. I grin at her and give them all a two-finger salute. Before I call hasta la vista. Assholes. 56. Too many books, sir. How do you know the way again? The night sky's first stars above our head. The forest that stretches between our territory and Ethan's pack is, thankfully, tame enough to walk through without tripping over anything. I'm the fastest among the gazer, Angelina says. Her gaze focused on our path. Alpha JX has sent me to the neighboring packs a few times. How do I not know about this? A slight smile because you never asked. I narrow my eyes at her and then huff for you get in trouble. For sneaking out. No one would ever find. I nudge my best at you sound awfully confident there. Lena, it's well placed. I assure you. She says and argue as I might. I know it is. Angelina is way too good at slipping away unnoticed. Now you tell me, Angelina says, glancing at me from the corner of her eyes, how come you have a new nickname and an unaware father-in-law? I press my lips together, wondering how I should even get started. Then I hold up my hand, the ring gleaming in the pale moonlight. Angelina lets out a soft gasp, stopping in her tracks. Did Alpha Luke? She leaves the questions hanging as she sees my grin on my moon. And I'm tackled in a tight hug, laughing as I hug Angelina back. She's beaming when she pulls away. That's so sweet. She says, how even, you know what? It doesn't matter. I knew you'd find an honorable, lovable man, mate or not. I clear my throat, getting to the complicated bit actually. It's true love. The mate bond isn't necessary to love someone with all your heart. Angelina, we? And don't ever listen to anyone who says you two can't be together. I will personally give them a piece of my mind. No matter who it is, we're mate. She stops babbling and blinks at me, slowly. Okay. Angelina's brows pull together. Maybe I got too excited. I think you've been reading too many books lately. Bina. But you guys have met before, she says as we start walking again. How come you didn't know? Long story. I breathe out in a sigh, but the highlight is that Luke is my mate. So, Angelina drags out, want to tell me about the hunt. And when I grin as she returns it, I realize I've missed my home very much during the past 8 weeks. The only reason I haven't yet collapsed from walking is that I've spent almost the whole of the past 8 weeks walking. Loon. I had no idea this forest was so big. How far is it yet? I ask Angelina. It has to be near midnight by now, not far. She says just 1 more mile. I let out an exaggerated sigh just when I thought that phase of my life is over. She chuckles at my statement and opens her mouth to say something, but then stops. Tension seeps into her shoulders and her brows pinch together. An old familiar sense of survival grips my frame. The muscles in my limbs tense, ready to start racing. I feel like someone's watching. Angelina doesn't falter her walking rhythm as she whispers to me. Ethan's pack members on patrol. I ask quietly, hoping for the best. She subtly shakes her head. We're too far for that. I see her fingers twitching, in resistance to clench them into fists. My own hold on my bags tightens. Ears perk to catch any sound. Elise? Angelina says calmly. On the hunt. Did you ever have to run like hell? I almost smile. All the time. Good, she says when I say go. You sprint straight ahead. If you see warriors on patrol, tell them what you need to. And you. My shoulders tense. Fastest omega in the pack. Remember, she says. Angelina, I am not leaving you alone here. I grit out. We both run ahead. If it's a rouge, she says. The forest around us is too quiet. As if holding its breath, I can outrun it long enough for you to get help. I breathe through my nose, willing calm over the chaos in my mind, my skin prickling with the sensation of being followed. Ready. Angelina stops, letting me take a step ahead on the path run. And as if a button has been pushed, that word triggers a response in me that makes my legs run to the fastest of their capacity. I hear another pair of feet behind me. No pause. We really were being followed. Angelina. I have to get to the pack borders and get Angelina help. I will my legs to run faster, my body dodging the trees instinctively, and it's all I can do not to look back, not to scream for my friend, or for help. I slam into a hard body and stumble back. My eyes fly to the face of the man standing before me, his companion standing close by. Who are you? He demands, stern eyes seizing me up. State your name and purpose. I'm from the Winter's territory. I breathe out. We were being chased by wolves, my friend. She's still there. They exchange a sharp look. Then the warrior who I stumbled into says, I'll go look for your friend. My companion will stay with you. I nod, my throat bone dry with anxiety. Damn it. Angelina. If you're not okay, I'll kill you. You're from the Winter's territory. The other warrior says to me, what business do you have here? He eyes my bag suspiciously. I clear my throat, my mind still wandering to where Angelina might be. I need to talk to Alpha Ethan. About. I raise an eye. Think I'll just tell him that. He narrows his eyes at me but doesn't push further. I set my bags down. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nelben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. What's taking so long? Why aren't they back yet? The wolf chasing us. I heard the pause behind me, and all of a sudden, pain explodes at the back of my head. My knees give out, scraping painfully against the rough ground as I fall. My swimming vision shows the man standing over me. There's no way I could have covered 1 mile so quickly. The thought cuts through my pain-hazed mind. Crap. 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 Angelina. Shit. The other man walks over to his companion, murmuring something I can't make out. And everything fades away. 57, no matter the cost. I quickly shove everything in my bag, which isn't a whole lot, but I'm too eager to go back. Too eager to be with my Hazel again. one night and I can't wait to see her again. Hear her voice. Make her smile. All ready. Casper walks into my room. Hands in his pockets, I nod. Everyone else is ready as well. My parents arrived this morning to congratulate me and take Casper and I home. It wasn't necessary, but I appreciate the gesture. Casper and I reach the sitting area of the residence. My mother and father are seated on one couch. Darky standing by my mother's side, grinning at me in a way I'm sure Hazel would kill her for. Are we waiting for something? Setting my bag down on a table. My father gestures to the couch across from their sit for a minute. I resist the urge to look back at Casper as I ask something I should know. Tell me when you find out. Stiffly, I settle down, part of me irritated at the delay, anxious to return to Elise as fast as possible. I should hope it's nothing of concern. On the contrary, my mother begins with a small smile. I think you'd be happy, darling, now that you've succeeded in securing your title. Father says you mother, and I think it's time for you to finally settle down peacefully in your life. I raise an eyebrow. Well, that explains Darky's grin, and a very special girl would be happy to spend her life with you. Mother says, if possible. Darky grins broader. Casper holds a hand in front of his face, probably to hide his own amused smile. I lean back in my seat, knowing that my parents probably have good intentions regarding this suggestion, and trying to shove that thought onto the right infuriate even the idea. Indeed, a very special girl would like to spend her life with me. I say, then I hold up my hand. I ring G, the string on it. It's suddenly gone very quiet. Oh my moon. My mother's hands fly to her mouth. Did you? Have you? I nod. My lips quirk upward. I found my mate. To say my parents were surprised would be an understatement. I'd be too, if someone told me I'd find my mate on this hunt. Despite my father's demands to tell him immediately where she is, I managed to keep the information to myself. I'd rather they meet her in person. The car drive would have been awkward, but I was too far gone in my own thoughts to care much for Darky's sniveling and Casper's attempts to appease his twin. Though they both fought like animals all the time, I suppose it's only humane if Casper allows Darky to pull over his shirt. It almost makes me wonder what I would do if I had a sister. By the time we reach Oratory, I'm barely holding myself back from either tapping my foot or my fingers against something. We were originally supposed to arrive by afternoon, but since my parents arrived, our plans were delightfully changed, and now, with the sun barely up, we're here. Most of the pack is probably still asleep. I refrain myself from grinning at the thought of surprising Hazel. I excuse myself to go for a walk while the rest of the party makes their way to the pack mansion. Casper looks over his shoulder and winks at me. Tell Elise I say hi. He all but yells down the pack bund. When all of them are finally inside the mansion, I quickly pivot towards the Omega quarters, my exhilaration increasing by the second. I knock at the door, and barely a few moments pass before someone opens it. Alpha Luke. The boy quickly bows his head in greeting. We were told you'd be here later in the day, sir. We'll start on the feast preparation right away. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. If you would only wait a bit for the head Omega too, that wouldn't be necessary. I tell him you can do everything as scheduled before. Oh, he blinks animatedly. Anything we can do for you then. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Is everyone awake? Most of us. Yes, is Elise awake? Holding back the urge to just walk inside. I doubt all the Ungazer would like to see the new Alpha, so peep me first thing in the morning. Elise. He shifts awkwardly on his feet. Elise is. She's not here, Alpha. I'm staring at him blankly. No. Alpha JX. He gets out. His eyes widening. He kicked her out last night. Her mum left this morning. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'm pacing around the room, my claws appearing and retracting, anger and reason causing a riot in my head. My father's office is packed. My mother, beta Rick, beta female Clara, Darky. All of them, and not a single one, has any idea where my mate is. I whirl on my father, who's sitting in his office chair, his face infuriatingly stoic. I told you not to do that. My words come out as a growl. I'd called him, before proposing, and I told him not to act on the contract before I come back. For once in my life, I tell him not to do something, and he fucking does it anyways. Did it occur to you that you should tell me she's your mate? My father narrows his fierce brown eyes. My fingers stay pointed. Did it occur to you that if I'm telling you not to do something, I might have a damn reason? Her mom isn't here. The head Omega isn't here. Neither of Elise's friends are here, and no one in this damn pack has any idea where any of them went. I resume my pacing, going over the possibilities of where she might be. She mentioned once that she'd go to the Human Society after leaving the pack. She would probably be in the city somewhere. I turn to Casper and open my mouth to tell him we're going to look for her when the door knocks. Apologies. The warrior that enters says, but the matter is important. Alphys Aprine. What is it? I snap. He pales a bit. Carlos is back. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Along with Mrs. Atwood, and I don't wait for him to finish before I rush out of the office. She's back. Thank heavens she's back. I'm never going to let her out of my sight like this again. I race down the stairs towards the sitting area. Casper right behind me. I see a bob of dark hair. The warrior uniform as the young man paces around. Alpha Supreme. His eyes snap to mine. Brows pinch together, but my eyes sweep around the room. I see Mrs. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. And the head Omega Morgan, but I don't see. My eyes snap back to Carlos. Where is she? His shoulders tense. He puts a hand at his forehead. Mrs. Atwood and Morgan pale. I have the vague feeling of a man underwater. Not where she should have been. Carolus pulls out a piece of paper from his pocket. The scent of it painfully familiar. My eyes go over the words. What do you mean that she isn't there? We just came from Alpha Park's territory. It's Morgan that answers me, and she isn't there. Neither is my daughter. Angelina and Elise left for Alpha Ethan's place last night. Carolus says, pacing around, Elise had left her mom a note saying I'd escort her to the pack this morning. But when we reached there, it's only due to years of practice that I refrain from blowing up. Years of tolerance and patience that allow me to keep my breathing controlled. Alpha Ethan sent his warriors to search around the pack territory. Carolus says we came here hoping at least to find Angelina. Get a team of warriors ready. I pocket the note in my hand. We're going there right now. I'll come to. Carolus says. I nod, the three of us moving towards the door when a small voice stops me. You're her mate. I turn back. Mrs. Atwood walk over to me. Her resemblance with her daughter uncanny. She told you. My voice losing its edge, which is what I should have done. I should have just told my father. Then she'd be here. With me. Say find my daughter. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Mrs. Atwood's voice breaks slightly, please. And every single fiber in my body is begging me to tear the world apart. And look for my mate like some half-hysterical animal. But I managed to rein it all in enough to put my hands on her shoulders. I'll bring her back. I tell her. Then meet Morgan's gaze across the room, both of them. I'll bring her back, no matter the cost. 58 toilet plunger. I open my eyes to the dark. A groan escapes my mouth as I pushed myself in a sitting position, my head ringing with a dull ache. Rubbing the back of my neck, I take in my surroundings. And there isn't much to take in. Considering that I'm in a dark room with walls made of stone, it's completely bare of furniture, and has no windows. Hence the dark. A hulking metal door is against one wall, no doubt locked. The events that led me here swim in my head, and the acrid feeling of anxiety washes over me. Where's Angelina? And where the hell am I? I stand up. My vision lurches for a moment before restoring. My eyes fall at the ring in my finger. I quickly pull it off and tuck it in my pocket. Damning caution to hell. I bang my foot on the metal door. The sound echoing. Moon knows who went to enough lengths to kidnap me of all the people and why the hell. But it's obvious they want something other than to kill me, so I might as well just ask. And figure out where Angelina is. I'm awake. I yell out and I'm hungry. Who the hell kidnaps someone and keeps them starved? Yeah, that's sure to attract someone's attention. And, as I expected, the door rattles and I quickly take a few steps away. The same men for pack warriors enter my vision. Bold of you to make demands. The blonde once says. All thought of my previous words leaves my head. My eyes narrow to slits. Where's my friend? My heart beating fast enough for them to hear. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. The other one, with darker hair, tells me and exactly where you left her. I watch them warily, gauging my options of running, wondering if they're telling the truth. I can only hope they are. Otherwise, I'm going to kill them any chance I get. Interesting. Keeping my breathing calm, why am I here then? Settle down. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You'll figure out soon. And the door slams shut. I hear the sound of their feet, which fades away at about the 20th steps. Wherever I am, it's a big space. I pace around the room, thankful for its less than small size so my brain can function. What is my captor hoping for? Ransom. Well, Alpha JX would disappoint them. But Luke, my heart sinks to my stomach. How long have I been here? Is Luke back? Has Angelina returned to our pack? Have my captors sent them any messages? I imagine how all of them might be worried. My own thought causing panic to rise in my head. I need to get out. I have to try something. I bang the door again. No one stirs nearby. So I bang it again. And keep banging at it, until it opens and what? The blonde guard snaps. I give him an odd smile eye. I need to use the bathroom. He shoots me an odd look. Use a corner. A cheer's about to close the door when I leap for it, holding it open with my hands. No wait. You don't get it. I will. I had lots of beans for dinner, and the atmosphere would wail if I use this place. The stench will reach everywhere and... Don't care. He tries to pull the door free of my grasp, but I hold tighter, squeezing myself half out. You should. I grit out, holding as strong as possible. It won't just be my nose that suffers. What is going on here? The other guard approaches, eyeing me and his companion with confusion. Chess being a nuisance. The blonde once says, "Excuse me." I try to push the door open further and fail. Haven't you to the bathroom? The other guard pinches the bridge of his nose and sighs. Eric, let her out. With an eye roll. Derek lets go of the door. I stumble forward, out of the room. We'll escort you to the bathroom. The smarter guard says, and if you try anything, I won't mind dispatching you again. Clear. I nod somberly to flank my sides, leading me ahead through the dark hallway. I notice the doors, all made of heavy metal, just like mine. Realization hits me like a brick. I'm in a dungeon. I open and close my sweaty hands as we walk and walk and walk. My mind racing. My eyes snag hungrily at the structure. The ins and out, and I find a staircase. The open door showing light outside. It has to be daytime. If the bathroom has any windows, or an opening, I can make it out. Then I can find the nearest phone owner and call the pack house. Someone is bound to come for me. Right. Finally, we reach a bathroom and they stand outside, shoving me in. I resist, stomping my foot. Not even a hole. Who the hell built this place? I sit down on the toilet lid, head in my hands. What the hell am I going to do now? I knock on the door from the inside. What? An irritated voice snaps. There's no toilet paper. I call back. Oh, for the love of everything. Derek groans, then a sigh, and heard you stay here. He'll go get it. Fine. Derek grumbles at his companion. I wait until I can't hear his footsteps anymore. Then I wait some more. Then I open the door. Derek's head whips in my direction. I shove the toilet plunger in his face. And since it's wet, WH8EHAFUC, he starts pulling at it. And since I'm a good person, I save him the embarrassment of facing anyone like this by shoving him inside the toilet. I slam the door shut after, hoping it'll be somewhat rigid, blood rushing in my ears. I race back towards where we came from, towards the staircase I saw. Taking two at a time, I rush upstairs. The bright light is blinding for a second as I climb out, closing the door behind by instinct. Then I can make out the brightly lit hallway, the expensive showpieces placed strategically around. My eyes find a window, and a rush of adrenaline goes through me. I'm in front of it before I can blink. I'm overcome with relief as I realize I'm on the ground floor. It was probably the basement I'd just come out of. I open it, ready to sprint out when someone grabs me by the back of my shirt and yanks me back. I stumble into a very pissed off Derek, an angry red lining around his face, and his equally pissed off friend. I swallow thickly as he slaps his hand at the back of my neck and steers me forward. Away from freedom. Crap, 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 is all I can think when they walk me past the basement door and towards a room. An office of sorts. I'm not allowed to see much of it before the pressure on the back of my neck forces me to my knees. My head down. The sound of footsteps fills the air. Calm, casual footsteps. Something hits me in the ribs. I can't help the scream that escapes my mouth instinctively. Hands grab me by the arms, holding me in place. The thing that hit me, someone's foot, takes its time doing it again, and again, and then some. By the time it stops, tears are streaming down my face and my ribs are howling in pain. For a few moments, only my ragged breathing echoes in the air, each breath more painful than the last. Finally, the hand at the back of my neck and the arms holding me let go, and it's all I can do not to fall on the floor in a pathetic heap. Someone grabs my hair and tugs my face up. I turn my watery gaze to the asshole who decided to have their fun. The face that comes in view is awfully familiar to one that he'd already associated with bad vibes. Alpha Zoya Goldstein looks down at me, smiling. How you like me customary welcome, darling? She asks bitch. I hold back the growl in my throat, stinging eyes narrowed at her. Very generous. I rasp out to what did I owe the pleasure. She smiles wider, and tightens her grip on my hair. I refuse to wince. I like her, she says to her guards. What a shame we're on opposite teams. I keep staring at her as she lets go of my hair and walks towards her desk, sitting down on it, and crossing one leg over the other. What do you want? Trying and failing to ignore how much my ribs hurt. She cocks her head to a side, watching me with cold grey eyes. A confession. My confusion must be showed on my face since she gets off from the desk and walks around it, settling in her back chair. You see, your e-partner murdered my beloved brother, she says calmly. Or did you forget already? Ignoring the urge to curl in a ball and groan, I straighten myself, breathing as slow as possible. You want me to confess he did that? More of a statement than a question. She flashes me a grin. It looks like a wolf baring its teeth. That's part of it, yes. I can't find the energy to ask what else. She answers me anyways. You stayed with Winters during the full moon, yes. Zoya Goldstein says you must be seeing what he is. And realization dawns to me. She wants me to claim that not only did Luke murder his predecessor, but HES also unstable to rule. Is it all for your brother's love? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Proud of the sarcasm that edges my voice, she howls a laugh. Oh, I do like you. You're amusing, little pet, and I'm wondering if she surpasses her brother in madness. As the rules claim, if the Alpha Supreme dies, the rule would fall in the hands of his mate or children. Goldstein tells me, but as fate would have it, my poor sister, in-law and nieces were met with a horrible accident. And so, She grins as she stands. The sunlight from the windows behind her casts her face in shadow. Once everyone knows Winter's an unfit for his title, she says he'll be the one who sits on the throne. 59 newly found Luna Luke. A team of warriors awaits us when we exit the Pack Mansion, each face stoic with determination. Casper has already mind-linked them about our location and goal. I clamp down on the instincts going haywire in my blood. Peek out the tips of my fingers where claws beg to erupt. The knots in my stomach. She's fine. I force down on all of the panic. My Hazel is strong. And she's brave. And she will definitely be fine. Any question? Once I explain which parts of the city and which packs each section of the crew will search, no one asks anything. With a nod, everyone hurries over to their own directions, in search of their newly found Luna. I, Casper, Carolus and a few others make our way towards one of the SUVs, ready to depart to untamed territory. A voice tears through everything. Alpha Luke. My head whips in the direction of that voice, along with almost everyone else's. I suck in a sharp breath. Morrigan's daughter, one of Hazel's friends, sprinting towards us, a sharp coating of blood the color of her hair crusted on one arm. Angelina. Carlos runs up to her and looks her up and down. What the hell happened? Angelina's wide gaze as panicked as I feel, her breathing sharp and short. We were going to Alpha untamed territory. She explains in a voice that's all breath, only a mile from the borders. We were chased, and I told Elise to go ahead. And then I was cornered and someone hit me on the head, and when I awoke she was there, and she holds out a crumpled piece of paper, almost soaked with blood. This was pinned to my arm. Her hand trembles as she holds it out to me. I take it, barely keeping my own rambling in check. From fury and panic and something murderous I squash before I can identify. The words are barely visible under the blood. You'll see how again. When she's telling the world what you are and what you did to my brother. I read it again. And again. My thoughts consumed by a white-hot rage that makes everything inside me calm. Perfectly still. Zoya Goldstein. Casper hisses a curse. Does she know Elise is your mate? Carlos asks. I shake my head and find some relief in the fact. She's not going to kill her. She has no reason to. If she doesn't know how important Elise is to me, she needs her to testify I killed my predecessor. We're not looking around the city or Alpha untamed territory. It takes me a moment to realize that this voice is mine. Common-controlled She's not dumb enough to send a letter and keep her nearby. Casper nods, yelling at the search teams who have stopped in their tracks to see what's going on to gather in the warrior's residence while we inspect newfound clues. I turn to go towards the war room. I need to think. I need to figure out where She's going to take Elise to declare this. I need to reach there before she does. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. A voice stops me. I look back to meet Angelina's gaze. A full flicker of surprise going through me at the steel of my own reflected in them. She trusted you, she says, holding her injured arm with the other. You better not betray that trust. I nod. I don't plan to. With I stride in the Pack Mansion. Carlos and Angelina behind me. I tune everything out. My gaze on the paper in my hands. My thoughts spiraling as I resist the urge to go somewhere. Anywhere, and start looking for her. Don't. I say to Casper as he makes to follow me inside the war room. I need to think. And I might kill anyone around me. With that, I stride inside, closing the door behind and put the paper down. Then I start making a plan. 60 Alpha bitch Elise. I groan again. Lying on the cold stone floor of my cell. I wonder which position to take so my ribs are in the least pain. Curling up didn't work. Neither did laying starret. I scoot myself towards the wall, and slowly sit against it. Slide down until I'm half laying. Half sitting, and decide this position will do. Even if it's straining my neck. My vision swims to the ceiling. My own raspy breathing hurts, and when I lifted the beaten-up shirt, I found my skin thoroughly bruised. Cursing Goldstein colorfully under my breath, I traced the lining of the ceiling. My eyes now used to the dark. The cracked cement and cobwebs swim through my sight until I'm looking directly above my head. Am I going nuts? I murmur to myself, squinting to see clearly, but lo and behold, I find a vent at the very end of the stone wall, near the ceiling. Huffing, I stand up, or try to. It's almost a crouch because of my barking ribs. A vent, an escape. Footsteps near my cell, and I quickly settle back into my previous position. My heart beats in my ears, excited and elated, and neuro us on having found escape route. The stone wall is shabby enough to be climbed, but my ribs, as if on cue, they hiss out in pain when I lightly rest my hand on them. A lock moves and the door opens. Derek stands in the doorway, looking at me with bored eyes. "Hello there, asshole," I croon, sitting straighter, come for another round of beating. He rolls his eyes at my words and strides in. Despite myself, I feel fear start to crawl up my spine, making my heart beat fast for another reason entirely. They need me, I remind myself. They can't kill me, but not killing me doesn't guarantee not hurting me. Derek smirks, no doubt hearing how fast my heart is beating. I do my best imitation of Luke's scowl. "Alpha wants to know if you're done being a bitch." I narrow my eyes, remembering our last encounter. And if I don't do it? Zoya Goldstein raised a perfectly groomed brow. "You've kidnapped me, kept me in a cell." I stood up, swaying slightly on my feet. "Why should I help you in any way?" "But Winters kicked you out." She stood up. "You are a rogue. You have nowhere to go anyways. Then you might very well kill me after I make the declaration. To my agent extraordinaire, Myelin Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." A leaping laugh, and a chill ran down my spine, knowing that she did not take no for an answer. Whatever clever words I had in my head evaporated when hands on my arms pushed me to knees again. Very true. Goldstein walked over towards me again. "But you're in no position to decide what you do or do not want to do." She laughed at the glare I shot her. "I'd like for you to reconsider, darling. Because a monster's nature is to break things it doesn't like. And hence my probably broken ribs." I keep my face carefully blank as I stare at him. The vent above my head no yet forgotten. "Get a healer," I tell him in a voice that should not belong to someone spiraled in a cell. Ordering me. He raises his brows. "I can barely walk." I snap him, very sure anyone who sees me will think you beat me into saying whatever I say. He seems to consider, and I cross my fingers out of sigh. "Please, you dumbass, take the message to your alpha bitch. Do it." Derek turns to the door again and without a word, walks out, closing the door behind. I deflate back into my half-lying, half-sitting position and loosen a breath. My gaze on the vent. My hand slides into my pocket to clutch my ring, as tightly as you would a piece of wood in a stormy sea.